Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Om Shri Ram. Hari Om to everybody. For the past few days, Papa has been trying to emphasize the point that in order to enable the mind to take to inward journey, a right perspective should be maintained throughout our waking state when we deal with men and matters. This should not be lost sight of. Whether it is picking flowers, whether it is drying the cloth, whether it is cooking, whether it is cleaning, whether it is doing puja, all these are aimed at taming the mind, enabling the mind, empowering the mind to build up the needed concentration to take to inward journey. This should be there at the bottom. While I when I dry the clothes and put it properly, this we should know. We are trying to raise the concentration level so that the perfection will be there. It is an offering to the Lord. I am not simply washing my clothes and drying it. So we try to move closer and closer to Him. For that, utmost concentration is a must. So when we have been trying in our outer activities certain amount of perfection, no? The mind becomes attuned to it, and when we close our eyes and chant mentally the holy and all-powerful Ram Nam, slowly the tendency to go out will become less and less, but again it may go out. So one more technique by which we can make it rooted, no? You are there in the form of my being, no? So then a little analysis of how we the sense of individuality has come up. These are the words of Nisargadatta Maharaj, very, very, very inspiring. Have you ever really given thought to the essential nature of man? Forget what you have read, what you have been told. Have you given any independent thought to this question? Essential nature of me. I repeat, independent, quiet, thorough, deep thought. As if you were the only sentient being on the earth and there was no one to guide you or misguide you. What are the essentials to that which you consider as you? Obviously the body, The first thing when I say I, the body comes because that is the station, that is the center, that is the temple, that is the house where I reside. Bhoga ayatanam. It is an ayatanam, it is a residence. So first comes only the residence. But this body that is now in its prime, healthy, strong, and was once a little drop or a speck of a chemical matter when conception took place in your mother's womb. We try to go back, Beautiful. Think. Did you do anything to be conceived? Did you want to be conceived? Were you consulted? You, in apostrophe. The today's you, were you consulted? Further, and this is important, what is it that was latent in the tiny speck of matter which was conceived that caused it to grow into a fully developed baby with the blood, flesh, marrow, bones, first in your mother's womb and thereafter in this world until it is now sitting before me discussing philosophy? The body was, during its growth, assumed various changes which you have considered to be you at different times. I was a child. I was an adolescent. I became an adult. I became a young man. I became a middle-aged person. Now I am a senior citizen. So many changes have taken place. And I don't need anybody to certify. I know it now. Who knows it? The body has, during its growth, assumed various images which you have considered to be you at different times. But no single image has remained with you constantly. And yet there is something which has indeed remained without any change. The beingness. Is that not your sense of being alive, present? The consciousness which gives sentience and energy to the apparatus known as the body? This consciousness is given various names: beingness, I amness, self, Atma, etc. And all other names like Maya, God, lovers. The world exists for you only if this consciousness is there. If you are not conscious, as in deep sleep, can the world exist for you? Now you get some idea. What is it that makes you instinctively think of yourself as you? This composite of the physical body, the life force, which is the active principle, and consciousness, which enables the physical senses to cognize things. Papa says, the other day, your job is to know in quest of where from I have come. Go to the source of you as well as the world. If I have to take this inward journey, the mind has to become totally one-pointed. If it has to become one-pointed, all my other activities should enable me, aid me, help me to develop this one-pointedness. So in all our activities, we have been asked to bring in this dimension. So yesterday when we were reading the diary of an aspirant, finally we arrived at what? He was complaining that the mind still refuses to get stabilized in meditation. So he said, Ratnamji said, from tomorrow you will get real meditation, even without sitting for meditation. Because the moment we think that meditation, we have got a mental picture. Sitting in Padmasana, our vertebral column erect, eyes half closed or closed, concentrating on the middle point here, watching the pranas, watching the thoughts, trying to facilitate for the emergence of the witness consciousness. Whenever the mind goes out, the nama helps us to bring back. So constant mental chanting will somehow enable the mind to stop going outward. The outgoing tendencies are arrested, as it were. And so that it slowly goes back to the source. But here, the same attitude is stretched to every activity. From tomorrow, you will get real meditation even without sitting for meditation, said Ratnamji. I did not understand what he meant. Now, this morning, while washing my clothes, I felt clearly that I was an unmoving witness, apart from my body, and that only the body was doing the work. See how the graduation takes place, how the evolution takes place in an individual. Outside, for all practical purposes, an outsider will feel he is involved in washing the clothes. But to him, I felt clearly I was an unmoving witness apart from my body, and that only the body was doing the work. The feeling did not last very long. I tried to recapture it, but did not succeed. My mind had felt pervaded by the same mild illumination as when I had good meditation. I asked Ratnamji about it. This is what I told you last night. If one repeats one's mantra always, tries to keep one's mind detached from one's work. Ramana Bhavan said, the feeling that one is not the doer starts to dawn slowly. Of course, sitting meditation is also good, but it is only the first step. You sat for many hours every day for more than a year before coming here. It has awakened something in you, but that is only the beginning, and it will be a great limitation if you can experience that peace only when you sit down and close your eyes. This is very important. Because he is with us, He is with us, whether we are sitting for meditation or whether we are involved in vegetable cutting or we are taking bath or we are walking. or we are hearing, or we are thinking, he is there. So it should not be limited to the one particular one. But that's why the sitting in meditation is the beginning. If you can experience that peace only when you sit down and close your eyes, that peace or current of awareness is the true nature of the mind or ego, and if you hold on to that, it will lead you to the reality beyond the mind. If you mold your mind according to the advice of saints, the current will gain strength and duration becomes continuous. It will get deeper, deeper, deeper until no thought remains and you go beyond.
So the saints don't think at all. The saint does not think at all. Saints do not think. She's asking if saints don't.
Let us do what, Let us do what has been asked. We will try, whether they have or they have not, in what way is going to help us. Every time we start thinking this, what am I to do? What am I to do? How am I to practice this? How am I to know for myself? So he was complaining from that. What was he complaining? Getting up by 3:30 and finishing my bath, I stood steady to 4 to assist Ratnamji in any work. The previous night, in the presence of Baiji, I made a mild complaint that I was not getting much time for meditation nowadays. Even if I sat for meditation, I would fall asleep due to what I thought was probably exertion during the rest of the day and night. I did not know that at a certain stage of meditation, the inherent dullness of the mind manifests as sleep or drowsiness. Ratnamji and Baiji looked at each other and then laughed. From tomorrow, you will get real meditation even without sitting for meditation, said Ratnamji. I did not understand what he meant. Now, this morning, while washing my clothes, I felt clearly that I was an unmoving witness, apart from my body, and that only the body was doing the work. The feeling did not last very long. I tried to recapture it but did not succeed. My mind had felt pervaded by the same mild illumination when I got good meditation. I asked Ratnamji, that is what I told you last night. If one repeats one's mantra always and tries to keep one's mind detached from one's work, the feeling that one is not the doer starts to slowly dawn. Of course, sitting meditation is also good, but it is only the first step. You sat for many hours every day for more than a year before coming here. It has awakened something in you, but that is only the beginning. And it will be a great limitation if you can experience that peace only when you sit down and close your eyes. That peace or current of awareness is the true nature of the mind or ego, and if you hold on to that, it will lead you to the reality beyond the mind. If you mold your mind according to the advice of saints, that current will gain in strength and duration becomes continuous. It will get deeper and deeper and deeper until no thought remains and you go beyond. So the constant preparatory step should be there. This is what is conveyed. Because if at all we get a glimpse, it will not stay with us. So we have to regularly practice. When Maharaj said, consciousness, we were remembering one word. Consciousness is not plural, You cannot add yes to it. So that is singular. Same everywhere. So ultimately, from all these, body, mind, intellect, equipment, we try to go within. The mind is sharpened, mind is focused, and the Nama puts the fence. And Nama enables us to have a glimpse of our original nature. And then we come back to the sense of individuality. Then we develop a harmonious relationship with the indwelling power and the sense of individuality. Ratnamji went for a bath and I followed him with a towel. He stood out by the well in the cold morning breeze, drawing water and pouring it over his head again and again. I asked him why it was necessary for him to take a cold bath in the cold air at this age and stage of spirituality. He said it was primarily to set a good example for others to follow. I asked him who were the others. I was the only person there. Are not you enough? By bathing like this, one becomes indifferent to the pleasures and pains of the body. Then only it will be possible to fix your mind on the internal current. Attachment to pleasure and aversion to pain are the two main obstacles to meditation. See, again, he comes back to that. Attachment to pleasure, aversion to pain are the two main obstacles to meditation. If one simply waits for pleasure and pain to come in order to practice indifference, one will have to wait a long time. The scriptures say that we should start the day with a cold bath, preferably with well water. The dullness of sleep which pervades the nervous system will be removed and the mind will feel fresh and alert. This force does not apply to sick persons, but we are not so old or sick that we cannot observe this rule. Though it may not be strictly necessary for me, if I don't do it, you will think it is not necessary for you. By not doing it, you will deprive yourself of the benefit of such a practice. I was surprised and a bit moved at his sincerity to teach me how to purify mind, even though it meant putting himself to inconvenience. I knew that he had rheumatism in his knees because when they were aching, I had brought hot water for him to bathe with when I was staying in the ashram. Now he disregarded his own poor health just to set an example for me to follow. I asked him why he should take this trouble for my sake. Do I want or expect anything from you? He said, of course not. But I feel that Ramana had entrusted you to my care to show you the way to self-realization. And I know that you also feel the same. When such is the case, what is my duty? Having been entrusted with a work by one's guru, should not one do full justice to it, even if means suffering or even death? If complete dedication to one's God-given duty is not there, what progress one can expect either in worldly or spiritual life? This particular word. If complete dedication to one's God-given duty is not there, complete dedication to everything is God-given. What progress one can expect either in worldly or spiritual life? One must control the mind, make it calm, and fully concentrated in order to see the reality shining within oneself. Total dedication to this task is necessary. One cannot go on one step forward and 3 steps backward all the time. If we are insincere in even one action, that insincerity will become a habit and pervade all our actions. If you feel the pulse in any part of the body, it will be the same. Here, here, everywhere. Beautiful example. It is very hard to improve and mold the mind. Thus, one must be fully dedicated in whatever one does, so that one's spiritual practice will be done perfectly. This is the ultimate message to us. In order to bring this, all these details have been brought, right from washing the clothes, puja, cooking, vegetables. One must be fully dedicated in whatever one does, so that one's spiritual practice will be done perfectly. In fact, perfection in action is itself a most powerful practice for concentrating the mind. In fact, perfection in action is itself a most powerful practice for concentrating the mind. If I somehow can instill spirituality in you, as my Guru did for me, ceaselessly showing a good example, then if it is God's will, you will be able to do the same for someone else. Even otherwise, it will be useful for your own liberation. Once again, we will read Nisargadatta Maharaja. Have you really given thought to the essential nature of you? Forget what you have read. Forget what you have been told. Have you given any independent thought to this question? I repeat, independent, quiet, thorough, deep. As if you were the only sentient being on the earth and there was no one to guide you or misguide you. What are the essentials to that which you consider as you? Obviously, the body. But this body, that is now in its prime, healthy and strong, was once only a little drop or a speck of a chemical matter when conceived, when the conception took place in your mother's womb. This journey hardly we remember, no? Hardly. Even when our intellect starts functioning, many of us we don't go back to our nature, no? Meditation should ultimately enable us to know our real being. This is the message given. Think. Did you do anything to be so conceived? When we arrogate that we are doing so many things, we can do so many things, we have these so many things, this arrogating sense of individuality, did it do anything for its conception? Were you consulted? Further, and this is important, what is it that was latent in the tiny speck of matter which was conceived that caused it to grow into a fully developed baby with blood, flesh, marrow, bones, first in your mother's womb and thereafter in this world until it is now sitting before me discussing philosophy? Beautiful. Pah. Every one of us has to go back to this, Have we really applied our mind on this? The body has, during its growth, assumed various images which you have considered to be you at different times. But no single image has remained with you constantly. We can parade all these things in our mind, now. Life in a retrospect. The mind is so fresh, the mind is so capable of filing all those memories. Sitting now with precision, it comes back, more clearer than even a movie. Even the face comes, the situation comes, the objects come. And of course, the concept of taking photographs, that came because you can see. You may forget, but the moment you see a photograph of yourself at different stages, immediately the whole file is opened and you can see the various changes that have taken place in you. Never it has been constant. The body has, during its growth, assumed various images which you have considered to be you at different times, but no single image has remained with you constantly. And yet, there is something which has indeed remained without any change. Is that not your sense of being alive and present? The consciousness which gives sentience and energy to the apparatus known as the body. This consciousness is given various names: beingness, I amness, Atma, self, and in our case, Ram, and also other names like Maya, God, love, etc. The world exists for you only if this consciousness is there. It has been named as the mysterious power. Now, do you get some idea of what it is that makes you instinctively think of yourself as you? This composite of physical body, life force, prana, which is the active principle, and consciousness, which enables the physical sense to cognize things. What you appear to be is the outer body. What you are is consciousness. So ultimately, all our daily activities should enable us to take to this inward journey, to have a peep into our original being, even if it's for a fraction of a second worth it, then slowly when we start enjoying it, we will get more and more stabilized in it. This is what our Mahatmas keep on promising us based upon their own experience and revelations. So let us not get stuck with any particular activity, but at the same time, that what is important behind that activity is that what matters. So whatever I do, it should become as perfect as possible. Purpose is to train the mind. Otherwise, the same habit will be there when we try to go inward. We people who have been coming to ashram can easily get this idea when we enter into Puja Mataji's room. Every time it was there, exactly like this, Nothing in a disorderly way. We appreciate, we say this and go back. No. She was demonstrating to us that this is the most essential thing for our spiritual progress. We did not know that. We were appreciating how simple she is, how perfect she is, and all those things we used to say. But it never struck to us that she is demonstrating to us, and did we take that message? If we have taken that message, it would have really helped us in our inward journey. If we have taken inward journey with that perspective, we would definitely have a glimpse of our original nature. These are all the messages Papa is giving to us through this wonderful journey, the diary of an aspirant. This is culled out from the book on the road to freedom. This was written by Swami Paramatmananda. This diary, it appears in that book. It has been culled out. So many are there. But again, let us not get stuck to a book. Let us try to get the essence out of it, and put it into practice. We may fail, we may forget, we may fail, we may forget, we may fail, we may forget, but one day we will get. Anything that we do, we try to bring in this dimension. The tangible gain is that even while doing apparently a worldly, mundane activity at home or in the office or with friends, we are trying to dedicate, Nobody will know it. It's purely a activity. Because it is dedicated to him, we try to bring it as perfectly as possible. In Papa's words, never in a slipshod, irregular, clumsy, half-hearted way. Whatever we do. And when we do everything with an orderliness, we will find, we are happy, others also will be happy in seeing our room, in seeing our things. There will be regularity. Every day we will wash our clothes, we will keep it clean. Not like this, in the peg. You see so many clothes in one week, on Saturdays or Sundays, you all take it. That was what we were doing. Socks will be there. Suppose we are using socks and shoes. It will have its own bad smell. Because every day we don't do that. And the mind has got an excuse. We are busy. But now we realize all those things. And whenever we see things not in an orderly way, instead of blaming others, we will go and correct it and do it. Because it is not for them, it's to make us all right. We feel not comfortable when something is not placed in the proper place. Suppose we take an umbrella and keep it somewhere without properly closing it, and when we see that, we become not comfortable. So immediately we go there, take it and put it in the proper place. Others may be thinking that we are helping. It is not. We become uncomfortable. If that system stays in us, it will be easy for us to take the inward journey without much struggle. There will be struggle, no doubt. As Maharaj says, it will not stay. Immediately it has to come. It will come back to its normal. So it is touch and go. Papa used to say tug of war. So in what all ways Papa is trying to take us, towards him. We feel deeply grateful to him. He facilitates for us to absorb all these things in a calm and sattvic ambience, atmosphere. And he doesn't give a tall talk. He brings it out through others from their very life, connected with the daily life. It's a wonderful, wonderful way of taking us. So let us try. We pray to him now. Please enable me to bring in this dimension in everything that I do. And that itself is meditation. And with such a mind, when we also exclusively try to go within, it will become easier. Anyway, I'll let all these things get stamped in our heart. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram.